spreading a rumor about you.
Okay, who is that? Refresh my memory, because somebody will ever spread rumors about me because of what I've done in wrestling. But,
well, if you remember correctly, and I'll actually play this funny little bit so people can be entertained here, so we can loosen people up here.
Okay.
As a matter of fact, let me get it up here for you right now. Here it is right here. And we'll play this one. I know this will give you a good laugh.
The weekly top 40.
Oh my God.
Coming up this weekend on Rick Hendrickson and the Top 40 Countdown, we'll find out which one of your favorite songs has blown its way all the way to the top. The world of radio. After I unfailed to archive shows of the Dark Match, I was fired from producing all these different radio shows because I couldn't get my nose out of my own ass. So now I host this crappy Top 40 Countdown show. And let's not forget the fact that the Bizzle Show only had about 8 listeners. Yeah. And who can forget ThreeKingsRadio.com? Such a terrible show, yeah. I had to call up these 18 to 19-year-old children to co-host the show with King Firehawk because their unprofessionality enabled them to get guests on the show on a regular basis. $60 a month I charge to produce radio. Can you believe that? $60 a month. And then people wonder how come nobody wants to be my assistant. Don't forget to listen to the Bizzle Show. Oh yeah, that's right. I don't do that anymore because I couldn't get any listeners. On the way on the Top 40 Countdown with Rick Hendrickson, we'll find out what song is number 1, so don't go anywhere. I guarantee you I'll blow you away. The countdown continues after this.
The weekly top 40.
Welcome back to the weekly Top 40 Countdown with your host, Rick Hendrickson. And I have a guest in the studio with me this weekend. Please give a warm welcome to a man who is extremely better looking than me, Jonathan Clarke. What's going on, Rick? I'm happy to be here this weekend. Top 40 is where it's at, as always. That's right, and I want to know just what's going on with you and those rumors about you quitting radio. What are you talking about, rumors, Rick? Rumors about me quitting radio? They're entirely false. I just had to come on your shit show, the Top 40 Countdown, to clear that up because I know what you're like, Rick. You'll always, take shots at me because undoubtedly I'm better than you at everything in life. And unquestionably, God spent a lot more time on me. It's kind of like that song from NSYNC that you play on a regular basis on this shit show. God spent a little more time on... But anyway, yeah, those rumors are, entirely false. So what's going on with your career right now? Everything, Rick. Everything and more that you would dream of doing but never will get the chance to do. Kind of like everybody else out there listening to your shit show right now, the Top 40 Countdown. And by the way, Rick, I've already blown my way to the top. And I don't need to do it on a Top 40 chart either. I blow my way to the top every single night. Just ask the millions of women that I had the privilege of satisfying. And by the way, look at that hot producer that you have over there. Right after the show, I'm taking you out for dinner. Me and you at Wendy's somewhere, baby, it's on, Top 40 Countdown. You're here, you're producing this shit show for this fat ass sitting in the chair next to me. You are going to be taken on the ride of your life. You don't have the right to steer and gawk at my hot producer. Yes, I do, Rick. Just calm down. Why don't you try getting a new catchphrase? Why don't you try doing something like this? I'm Jonathan Clarke, and I'm the most extremely attractive man in all of internet radio. Can you say that? I'm Rick Henriksen, and I'm... heartburn. Can we get some help for this guy? While Rick is there dying of heartburn. I'd like to remind all of you that you can listen to me on every radio station across the entire world. Top 40 heartburn. I'm Jonathan Clarke, and you've been listening to the Top 40 Countdown. God bless, have a wonderful weekend, and for Rick Henriksen, who will never be as good-looking as me, I'd like to remind all of you that no matter how good you are, you'll never be as good as me. For the Top 40 Countdown, I'm Jonathan Clarke, and we'll see you next weekend.
The weekly top 40.
There you go.
Oh my God! I tell you that this Rick, yeah, he spread some rumors about me, and we kind of cleared that up. No, I didn't quit. That was probably about 7 years ago. That was
Yeah,
a long time ago, because that was when I used to go out with friends in the town that I lived in, and I'd come home at 3 o'clock in the morning, and there'd be messages on my phone during live radio about how I host a subpar radio show, wasn't as good as what I claimed to be, but the thing is, I had the shit to back it up. I had the technology, I had the programs, I had the connections, and I was able to do it. So people just used to call me on a regular basis and just verbally harass me. It got to the point where I'd wake up about 7 o'clock in the morning and people would still be calling my house leaving messages. And that's why, Kristen, that's why I don't have a cell phone. That's why I'll never have a cell phone. Because you try and do what I do. God love you because you're a nice person, but you try and do what I do. You'll never be able to do it. You'd never be able to do it. You would destroy your own cell phone if you had to put up with stuff that I had to put up with. Yes, you have a stressful life. You got a kid. I respect you for that. But there's a reason why I don't have a cell phone. That's why.
Oh yeah. And if you look at the end result of things here, you might as well just say check on a lot of names that have been in and out, that really thought that they were that they were hot stuff. They thought they were these big names, and they're eventually going to have a cash flow that's going to come in. And look how they're not around. I mean, that dealt with us. Casey Carnage, what's he done lately?
Nothing.
Rick Hendrickson, Bizzle, what has he done lately? Gone.
He's gone.
As much as he wants to still believe in his own hype, Vinny the Guido, what's he done?
He's gone.
Exactly. Go down the list. Phil, gone. Todd Frizzle, gone.
Gone.
I mean, I could go down the list of people I dealt with here. Some that I dealt with on Blog Talk Radio that are no longer around.
Rick Ryder.
Rick Ryder's not, and Rick Ryder, left on his own choice, and he didn't leave on bad terms. Rick Ryder is still doing things where wrestling goes. Rick Ryder's great. James Young. I mean, what have these people done? I mean, Chris Cash is the only one you hear of from the WRN days.
And you don't hear from him all the time either.
Yeah, it's just look at what's going on. Both WRNs, the people that ultimately ran them or took them over and really didn't do things right, gone. I said the difference is, if you really look at it, I'm still around. Still around. The only thing I did was make a transition from wrestling to what I do now.
And that's the same thing I did, because the same thing I said to Disney when Disney asked me if I was okay. Gentlemen, believe it if you want to or not, but they called me to see if I was okay because they had heard the shit that I did on YouTube. For whatever reason, they heard the shit that I did on YouTube. They called me and they asked me if I was okay, and if I was interested in interviewing Miley Cyrus. This is what had to be done during the whole Phil thing, because they knew that I was fucked up. And the same thing I said to Disney. The reason why I wanted, and Bob heard it as a witness, I said to Disney, The reason why I want to do stuff with you guys and the reason why I want to stay in contact with you, Nickelodeon, all the people in the entertainment business, is I got to get away from wrestling. I got to get away from it before something happens. That's why. That's why we wanted to do the whole thing with entertainment. That's why. We had to get away from it because it was the same stupid politics all the time. It was the same 4 or 5 people who thought they were going to do something but never did amount to anything. It was just people wanting to control our lives, and that's what wrestling is. Working in still a 9-to-5 job. I got up this morning for Christmas, and it was just like every other day. Because why? Because I had spent all my life doing this. And the biggest thing that happened to me today was I got up this morning. This is what I did. I got up this morning. I got 2 slices of toast and a fucking cup of coffee for myself. I sat down. I called my nephew, who's 5 years old, who got an iPad Mini this morning. I talked to him. That was the highlight of my day. And then I went over and I met over to my relative's house, and I met a girl from Australia who's 8 years old who loves Hannah Montana. That was the highlight of my day. It wasn't this shit that I did with wrestling, because it gets you nowhere. It gets you nowhere.
It's sad. Very few people from the internet are going to make it doing wrestling. I mean, as much as I can't stand them, in your head still doing it. I said in 2006, after I walked away from In Your Head and told Neil Jones where he could stick it, and Neil Jones, you could still stick it there if you want to. I still got your video I'm going to play, Neil. And I know we don't have that much time. We got about 12 minutes left here. I will say this, that is that they're the only ones that make it, But what did they do? They live off what's the popular thing, what the popular thing is. To say a guy like Extreme Falls, who used to debate with me because he rehashed whatever he heard people say on the internet, and I'm the much older person that smartened up before there was an internet to wrestling, smartened up to how the